investing, the BTC Conundrum, and the rational bet on BSV and XSpace, August 30th, 2024. I hosted it featuring Kurt Wuckert Jr. among a panel of investors and people on both sides of the fence. So check this out, this video. I'm going to break it down. It's a 3-hour space. I'm going to post a link to the video, to the space in this video below. You can listen to the recording on there and highly recommend it. So, you know, the XSpace started out with a great position of Kurt following up an article that he wrote on CoinGeek about the BTC Conundrum and the rational bet on BSV. And Kurt went into his background and his positions between the two, the fork with BTC, and then also we talked about his company Gorilla Pool and his perspective as a business owner on supporting BSV. There was a number of other speakers, including Alex Favel, which we've had on here before, from Dark to Light. And then in the second hour, we went into a lively debate with Raphael Laverde, who we've had on before as well, who I've had on before as well. And he supported BTC and what he believed is an opportunity for people to make money on BTC with the implementation, with the rollout of opcat and potentially expanding the block size. So he made his point on that, which is well taken. Third hour, Jack Pitts came in and he made his argument, which is we've had him here before and multiple times. He's a former stock picker, financial trader back in Wall Street. Now he's retired and he's full-time in the Bitcoin space and supporting Big Blocks, which is the Satoshi Vision BSV. So he makes his point about how, picking up, supporting BTC and the ordinals or the hope that the block sizes will expand, like Raphael made, is like picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. Well, you might be able to get a few, just don't be caught with your shoelaces inside the steamroller or you're going to get smashed. So, and BSV, he makes the point, is the steamroller that's mowing down the entire industry, in the long term, in this long-term play. Now, the bet is like for the guys who want to trade, it's like, well, how much longer do we have? That's the big question. We don't know. But I think people are in agreement that BSV is the steamroller. It's coming down the track really slow, but it's picking up steam, being that it's the regulatory compliant blockchain. It's the blockchain with the patent protection behind it. It does the most amount of transactions for the cheapest amount of costs. So companies like using it for those reasons. And then it's just a matter of how long that's going to take before these other, like BTC scales. If BTC rolls out opcat, like Xiaowei Lewis talked about before my last video, well, is that going to happen before the steamroller that Jack Pitts talks about in the third hour happens? That's up for debate, because in the past, over the last 4 years, for any of the people who bought BSV, let's say in 2020, and then they sat on it hoping that steamroller would eventually come, well, guess what? It went down. For those people. So those people are like saying, hey, I lost money. Well, if they sold all their BSV coins at the bottom, then they lost a bunch of money. And they bought it, let's say, I think the high price was over 400. And now it's about, $40, $50. So they lost down to 10% of what they invested if they sold. Now, for those who are just, getting into it now and they're thinking, wow, it's really cheap, $40, $50. And the other one is almost $50,000, $60,000. What's the opportunity? So we really break that down in detail on this space. Michael Scott does a great analogy about his experience how he became a millionaire on Bitcoin back in starting in 2013, 14, buying BTC and stacking the coins. And then he gives the analogy about how, if you had Bitcoin, the original non-split coins prior to 2017, he says, don't split it, don't sell it, keep it that way. It's smart. But if you're just getting into it now, Michael Scott gives his predictions and recommendations that nobody should buy BTC. And he says that the only rational bet is BSV for the long term. And he makes an analysis of AI, and I think that's another huge component that people are forgetting about is the automated computer AI rollout of micropayments. Because, the first DACO interview, 2014, that Craig Wright did, everybody should recommend everybody watch. It was like his first perspective on what is Bitcoin? What's it going to be in the future? And he makes these predictions about how everything's going to have an IPv6 address on it, like a Coke can, and goes out into the ocean and you be labeled as the worst litterer because it's late tracked back to you. Well, each of those has a micropayment to it, which is part of the BSV blockchain. At that time, it was just Bitcoin blockchain. And so the point is that's the steamroller, like the IPv6 implementation with Terranode on the BSV blockchain with BSV association that they're talking about is that big steamroller. The Terranode is like testing at 1 million transactions a second. Aerospite, which is the one of the largest web, I think the largest web provider, they scale up to, I don't know if it's 3 million transactions a second. They're huge. They're working in partnerships with the BSC Association as well as AWS. And I hope to do a show with AWS as well coming up. I've been in communication with them and I was hoping to do it next week, but it's not going to happen. So I was hoping to do a show with those guys in the next, in the future. I am in contact with them because it'd be great to hear the Amazon Web Services perspective about what they're doing with the BSV blockchain and how they're partnering with them or what they're up to, because we know that's happening. I'm in contact with them and they were at the London Blockchain Convention. So, that's the steamroller side. And then the other side, of course, is this opcat and implementation with BTC. I was just a great conference with Xiaowei Liu and he's committing full time on the development of rolling out of opcat, which is in theory, hopeful, going to happen for BTC, the Bitcoin Core. And if it does happen, according to Xiaowei Liu, it's going to allow for programmable money on the Bitcoin Core for the first time, which could be huge. Could be a huge opportunity. They've got so much, $1 trillion in liquidity over there. So, it's a lively debate on both perspectives. Now, I really try to give both arguments sides to hear because, people have different interests. A lot of people are in it for the short-term, quick money, and that's their need. I respect that, dude. And I've been in that same position and I have no objection to that. If I had an exact system to follow that was guaranteed to work, I would totally think that's a phenomenal idea. I just don't have that system. I don't have that, personally. But I do have the insight to be able to read the law, the compliance, the regulatory stuff, the long-term stuff, and the just steamroller argument that Jack Pitts makes about the BSV blockchain. So it's a phenomenal XSpace. I highly recommend it. I try to do my best to stay in the middle of the two sides, and also as an XSpace host, I really do my best to keep it as an uplifting space. And I'm going to keep doing that on everything I do in this channel and everything that I do in X. My only rule is it's got to be uplifting, and I think that one of the best points on the end of the space, I had Raphael say some great things, and he had some argumentative points that he felt like maybe he was getting ganged up on, or, he was arguing a side that wasn't, that was contrary to a lot of what other people were saying. And I thought, at the end, I said, dude, I kind of gave him the last word and I said, leave us with something very inspiring, very uplifting. And he did. At the very end. And I thought that was great. So I'm all game for having people give their perspective, even if it's a different perspective, on my spaces or on my shows, as long as it's uplifting, if it's uplifting and inspiring, because there's lots of uplifting perspectives that I want to hear. Especially, it's silly for me to think that I'm gonna put my head in the sand and I know everything. And anyone who's in that boat, it's important that, you look back and say, well, wait a second, what is insight? Do I know everything? And if that's the case, then, we have a lot of maturing to do, because I don't know what I don't know. And there's a lot of the technical stuff I definitely don't know. And I definitely don't understand. So these are where we bring in these people, different perspectives. So, again, yeah, if you have uplifting perspectives, even if they're from the other side, and you think that Craig Wright, and, we didn't really talk about Craig Wright at all, but, I've done a lot of videos. If you think that Craig Wright is wrong, I have no objection to talking about that as well. Like David Pierce, he does a great job at bringing that forward in an uplifting way without making it personal and name calling. And I love him for that. I appreciate him for that. There's no reason to make name calling accusations at someone or bring the vibe way down to hate and mudslinging when he's just stating his legal position and what he understands about the case against Copa v. Wright. So again, this XSpace is pretty, I think it's pretty telling. Quick announcement. I'm going to be doing a show on Wednesday featuring the #1 hit called by Rui da Silva. He actually had a #1 hit back about 20 years ago called Touch Me. Paul Oakenfold used to play it like on repeat at these raves and a lot of basically a lot of concerts back at that time, DJ concerts. And it literally reached #1 on the dance tracks. It was called Touch Me. And so he's received a lot of promotion on that. And now he is involved into the Bitcoin space as an entrepreneur. And the space is going to be called From #1 Hits to Blockchain Bits with Rui da Silva from London. All right. So that's going to be on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. UK. 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. That's Wednesday coming up this week, which is going to be the 4th? All right, so Labor Day's tomorrow. It's the Sunday. I'm going to go out. I've already got some sun. It's a great day. Everybody be sure to check out the recording here. Also, I'm going to be doing some more talks on some training as well. I see that a lot of people are subscribing to this channel on training. So if you're seeing this video for the first time, not only training, high intensity training, and really what I'm learning about training in the body, which is super, it's amazing, including, of course, X3, which I'm training X3. So stay tuned for that. Also, some of the law stuff, I'm going to have an amazing guest on X at some point here soon called Michael Alexander, St. Michael. He did the I Arrested District Attorney viral video on YouTube. So we're going to have him on at some point in the future. So be sure to subscribe with the like button, share the video, and check out the XSpace featuring Kurt Wuckert Jr. here in the description below. All right, I will see you at the top.